Welcome to this edition of Silver Sneakers Boom Muscle. We've got about 6 weeks until Christmas, or 7 weeks until 2026. There's always a lot of fitness challenges and contests starting off the new year with your New Year's resolutions. I always like to finish the year with at least some effort to improve my health and fitness, trying to get my body fat down a bit, which is a continuous struggle. And so I'm going to go through a fairly high intense Silver Sneakers Boom Muscle workout today. And as far as equipment I'm using is I have a medicine ball, one that bounces, and a much lighter ball, which is one of these little squishy balls, a stability ball, a floor mat, a variety of dumbbells ranging from really light to pretty heavy, and then some larger medicine balls that don't bounce, because again, with a heavy medicine ball, if you have one that bounces, it could be a little bit dangerous. I always want to do some amount of a warm-up before starting an intense exercise program. So for me, I go around this gym facility, although I'm not an employee, I put away weights that have been left out, trying to straighten things up a little bit. So I'm carrying things, I'm walking around, which is warming up my body. And I actually clean the bathroom facilities, spray down the sink, do a wipe on, wipe off, kind of like from Karate Kid, bending, lifting. And not only does it get me warmed up, I think it improves the sanitary conditions for the facility during the cold and flu season, maybe reduce the risk of getting one of those infections. As a senior, I'm 70 and a half years old. I'm very concerned with respiratory problems because, again, more susceptible. So to warm up, just doing a little bit of marching. You can add a little bit of shoulder rolls to this. And march with your knees out to the side. And roll your shoulders forward. And some partial lunges. Warm up the fascia. I'm going to do a partial front lunge and lift my arms overhead. This one is warming up your anterior obliques. You can do one arm, other arm, both arms. Some trunk twist kidney slaps. Front lunge and a twist to the side. Okay, want to make sure you have a source of water, towel, and you want to monitor your perceived exertion. A lot of times in this kind of workout, we're doing 7, 8, 9 range. You can also do the Goldilocks ranges. It's too easy, it's too hard, or it's just right. We do want to kind of push to that just right to where it's just not quite too hard. I find at my age, if I'm going to do a fairly intense workout, I need to start warming up my whole body, and so I'll schedule things to where I start working basically from shoulders down and work on my shoulders first. So I'm going to grab a couple of light dumbbells, do some lateral raises. Just slow. You want to lead with your elbows just up to horizontal. I don't really care, I'm not really concerned which weight of dumbbell I grab. I generally like to grab one that contrasts with the color of my outfit. So I have these nice green ones today. At this facility I have all option. I have orange, I have red, pink, purple, black, chrome. Let's do about 2 more. And bring your palms toward your thighs and do upright row. Like I discussed in a previous video, there's essentially 3 energy systems for muscles, going beyond 15 or so repetitions. It's getting into that more aerobic muscle range, so I try and get to where doing about 15 is about max. And hinge forward. Let's do a lateral range in this bent position, working more on the posterior shoulder muscles. You want to think about your shoulder blades, and as you're doing this move, kind of retract and bring them together. That helps open up the shoulder and prevent impingement type injuries. And from this same position, we can do kickback. Sometimes I count repetitions, but a lot of times I want to go to where I feel I'm exhausting the muscle, to where I could only do a few more repetitions without losing form. And let's do an alternating front raise. I'd advise, if you're a senior, not to go higher than about 45 degrees above horizontal. Again, thinking about what our shoulder blade is doing in this movement, keeping it down and retracted as best as possible, engaging our core, remembering to breathe. And let's do one more on each side. Okay. Go ahead and set the weights down, get a drink of water, and we'll move on to our first action interval. Go ahead with this if you think your shoulders and trunk is warmed up enough. Otherwise, maybe repeat that first set. So I have a bouncy ball here, medicine ball. What I'm going to do is use this to throw against a hard surface, a wall, let it bounce, and then catch it and repeat. So basically a throwing motion. I'm going to switch to my non-dominant hand. Let's see how this goes. So for this action interval, I want to continue doing this enough to get my heart rate up towards the second ventilatory threshold, which is where I am not able to speak in full sentences. So that was about maybe 30 seconds each side, so that's adequate for that. Now I want to concentrate on some leg exercises. I'm going to do a seated knee extension, flexion. With this exercise, I want to work on these muscles on the medial side of the knee. So I'm going to turn my foot out about 45 degrees. Often with this one leg at a time, just the weight of your foot is adequate. You can feel the muscle working. It's very important on this muscle. It helps keep your knee together. Switch the other side. Next I'm going to do some straight leg raises, which are working the same muscle plus more of the quadriceps as well. You can lay back down, foot out, and just elevate. Again, this is coming from the hip. Going from horizontal to maybe 45 degrees up. And the other side. Now I'm going to switch to a mat on the floor, grab my stability ball, and do some posterior strengthening like a hamstring curl with a stability ball. So to do this, I'm going to lay down on the mat, put my heels with my legs straight on the stability ball, and then roll it in, bringing my knees up towards the ceiling. So this is an exercise that, well, and I forgot it, you do a bridge essentially. You bring your hips up off the floor with the weight on your shoulders, avoid putting it on your neck. So it's a combination of a bridge and a hamstring curl. So let's see how it goes. Feet up, bridge, in. I find that to be a pretty intense exercise. So take it at your own pace. You can always pause the tape, repeat it, maybe doing a few repetitions, or until your hamstrings cramp. Moving on next to some calf exercises. There's several machines at facilities for the calves. You can get a pretty good workout for them without anything special. I like to have a support and just improve the balance. My feet shoulder width apart. Just raise up on my toes. If you put down a little platform, you can get a little bit of, on the eccentric part, going down a little bit below horizontal. If this is too easy, you can add weights, or with the support, lift one leg and just do calf raise on one side. Switch the other side. Standing calf raise like this exercises both the muscles of the calf, the gastrocnemius, and the soleus. The gastroc crosses the knee joint, but the soleus doesn't. To work just on the soleus, if you bend your knees and do a calf raise, you're working on just that muscle, which has a tendency to be neglected. Again, trying to do it one leg. Since it's a smaller muscle, you might not be able to do as many. The final version, they call it a donkey calf raise, is you hinge at the hips, hold on to a support, and do a calf raise at this position. You might not notice any difference with it. So what you could do is grab a weight, have your support bend, and do your calf raise, lifting the weight. If you're ready, we'll go to a next action interval. We'll grab that small squishy ball for this one. If you're like me, two of my least favorite activities in gym class in elementary or junior high school was climbing the rope, which I was not able to do until I was in 8th grade, and dodgeball. So I'm taking the light ball. I've set up several obstacles in this large room. Again, this may not be possible for whatever facility you're in. You can always replace it with running in place or some other boring activity. But for this, I'm going to throw the ball towards one of these obstacles, run and retrieve it, throw it again, and try and keep this going for maybe a minute or till total exhaustion. Here we go. But this time, I stopped running and let someone hit me with the ball. Many exercisers divide their week into splits, where on one day they might be doing a pushing exercise, and the next day they might be doing pulls, and then they take a rest day. Your typical or classic pushing exercise, that would be like a chest press, a push-up, a squat. You're extending, the muscles are getting longer, but you don't want to forget the eccentric phase of where the muscles are shortening. Again, if you just relax and go fast, let's say gravity do the work, you're not getting as much benefit as doing a slower extension phase. So for a couple of our push exercises, I'm going to do a box squat and then push-ups. I've been seeing a lot of videos of how many box squats you should be able to do as a senior in 30 seconds. So we'll give ourselves a 30-second time limit. Just do a box squat. You don't need to have weight. Again, we're just trying to see if we can hit, let's say, a ballpark figure somewhere between 15 and 25. going to start timer. Okay, 2, 1, and begin. So 30 seconds. You can always take a pause at any time, get a little rest. Okay, so I hit 25 there. I'm going to rest for 30 seconds and then move on to push-ups. I'm going to do an incline push-up and just see how many I can do in 30 seconds. I'm going to use the handles to protect my wrist. And go ahead and start. Okay. So for me, that was 21. You can use it as a way to track your progress, to increase the intensity. You can always go more towards more flat. Try and increase the speed, at least on the pushing phase. I've seen a few videos of the max push-up number to do in 30 seconds. To me, most of the time, I'm seeing them doing these partial push-ups, which I was always taught, if you don't fully extend your arms and lock out your elbows, it doesn't count. So while they're claiming 50, 52, these little partial push-ups, I count them as 0. So I think you get your most benefit from a full range of motion. If you're going to do a partial push-up, you're exercising some of the muscles, but not all of them. It's incomplete. So you can do both, but I like to stick to the full thing. To demonstrate a full body pull exercise, I'm going to grab a couple of relatively heavy dumbbells and do a what they call Romanian deadlift or straight leg deadlift. For the Romanian deadlift, your knees are bent a little bit more than for straight leg. Bring the weights down somewhere between your knees and your feet. Keep your back neutral and your head up. Then you lift and explosively pop your hips forward. So you see we're pulling with the arms and back. You can combine this with a shrug at the top. Another pull. And stop. This is the kind of exercise, if you start to lose form, you should stop at that point. So rounding your back, particularly with the weights, can be particularly hazardous to the back for back injury. Another memory from my childhood was one of my older siblings, on the 10th of 11, wanted to teach me a card game called 52 Pickup. Oh, so I'm all excited, tell me the game. So he takes the deck of cards and he throws them across the room and says, the game is you go pick them up. So this is a version of 52 pickup. I'm going to scatter these balls around the exercise room here, and then as fast as possible run, pick them up and bring them back to base. This is both a running and agility drill, and hopefully get a pretty good action interval, which can translate into a number of different sports besides card games. If you want to do something similar, you can scatter anything around. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Rule, you can only pick up one at a time. Recovery time. Still haven't quite recovered. To complete this workout, do a few minutes of maybe some abdominal work, some stretching, and self-foam rolling. Or I'm starting to post some videos called Silver Sneakers Boom Mind, which is a lower intensity combination workout of Pilates, yoga, beneficial stretching, both dynamic and static stretching, a combination of various Silver Sneakers formats, a lower intensity, but a good adjunct to these boom muscle workouts. Hope to see you next time, and have a great day.